As much as I would like to talk into a camera, I'm gonna put gameplay behind this and then just, put my voice over it to give you guys something to watch while you listen to my soothing voice talk about the trash and the roller coaster that is Riverdale. Now, when I first heard about Riverdale, it didn't seem too appealing to me. It just sounded like another Twilight teenage drama, and it really didn't look too good. So then I look it up on Netflix as you would, and I see the title screen. It does not look appealing at all. So I don't watch it. Now, a long time later, probably like whole year later, I came back to it, and I decided, hey, I'll watch the first episode. Why not just give it a try? And after getting to the depression that followed after I watched that episode, I didn't watch it for another 2 weeks. It was bad. It was stinky. It was stinky garbage. So until maybe a month, few weeks, I don't know, later, I got back into it. Well, I was never into it, and I didn't get into it. I started watching it. Now, after watching the first few episodes, I realized this is a show for me. This show attracts a few audiences. The audiences that like so bad it's good shows and movies, and then the audiences who like teenage drama films about cute boys and girls and stuff, whatever girls like. That being, teenage girls, which is the main audience of this show. Now, when I got into this show, I was not looking forward to it. But I started watching it. I watched all 3 seasons. Now, I could watch the 4th season. It's on HBO. I'm not gonna watch an episode every week. It's not that good. It's not good enough for that. I'll just watch the Netflix. If season 4 happens to come out on Netflix, I'll give it a look. But Riverdale is really, really bad. If you're looking for a show with good writing, good acting, good plot, then move on to a different show. But if you're looking for a show that you can make fun of, or that you can sit with a couple of boys, sit with a couple of your buds, maybe crack open a cold one, and joke about, then sure, yeah, you might want to watch this. You might want to take a peek at it. This is the most stereotypical, cliche high school film with some murder in it. And it is just wonky and zany. Like, there's so much nonsense going on. There are more holes in this show than Swiss cheese. It's crazy. It's wild. It starts off as any other show. High School Musical, another day, another dollar. Brand new school year with brand new friends and brand new murder. There's this kid, Jason. He's a ginger. He's the twin brother of some other chick. He was murdered, right? Him and his sister were on a boat. He was murdered. Nobody knows what happened. His sister doesn't know what happened. Everyone's just being weird about it. And they seem to not be able to get over his death, because even after a couple years, everyone's still dying over his loss. Everyone's still mourning his loss. Now, his family, his sister, is the mean girl of this story. She is the head cheerleader, captain, whatever you call it. And she is rich, of course. It's a new concept, I know. And her whole family, rich, doesn't care about each other. It's like the usual. Now, there's this one chick, the main chick, I guess you could say, Betty. Now, Betty always wears pink. Betty is the supposed nice girl or something. Now, all we know about her is, so far in the first season, nobody really knows her sister. Her sister was, like, she left, nobody knows what happened to her. She just had a sister and now she doesn't. And everybody's like, oh, you know what she did something bad, blah, 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 blah. Turns out they, like, sent her to a mental institute and she was pregnant or whatever and she's the mother of Jason's children. And she had twins. So then the Blossoms or whatever start caring about her and not wanting to kill her because she's holding Jason's babies or whatever. And Betty's mom wants her to be perfect and not bad, and she doesn't want her to be like her sister, and she doesn't want to have to send her away. So Betty is the nice girl and likes her neighbor and classmate Archie. Archie is the buff ginger jock of the story. Now, this is very new. You have the jock, the mean girl, the nice girl, the rich girl, the brooding emo, and of course the stereotypical, just in the open eccentric gay. Now, this is a very new concept. No show has ever done this before. But this show has epitomized the meaning of garbage. Now that I introduced all the characters, I can get more into the story. Now, I'm not going to cover each and every episode, but I'll cover some of the plot lines that are used. Archie is dating his teacher. He got in a fight with Jughead, the emo, who is also the writer of the newspaper and is pretty much narrating the whole thing. Veronica and Betty started getting a fight at first because Veronica kissed Archie, like at a party that, ginger chick sort of started to put some spice in the stew to stir things up and cause drama. That's why she put the two together. She had him do 7 Minutes in Heaven. So while Archie is getting down and dirty with his music teacher, being the old MILF-meister we all know and love him to be, and found out that Jughead and Archie got a little, quarrel, and weren't that good of friends, and now he confronted him, and they sort of become friends, and he tells the truth. Now the dead kid, that nobody knows what happened to him and the MILF were making out when they heard a gunshot the same day that he was killed. So they haven't told anyone this because they were getting down and dirty. They didn't want anybody to know. So eventually he tells him that he heard the gunshot. He doesn't say anything about the cougar. So everything's chill there. They find out some more stuff eventually after a bunch of twisting and turning and stuff not making sense and plot holes. They find out, spoiler alert, Jason's dad is the killer. Ooh. Now, we all expected this. It isn't much of a surprise. Jason found out that he was peddling drugs, lots of them, and he silenced him. Veronica's dad, the new girl, mysterious, he's in prison, nobody knows why, but they're rich, and from him, he gets out of prison. This is the second season. He gets out of prison, he's short and buff and not that nice of a guy. Now, Veronica at this point is dating Archie, and Betty at this point is dating Jughead, the emo. So Archie gets to meet the parents, and he asks him to join his gang or whatever. This is later on. He asks him to join his gang, and he does. He helps him out and such. I mean, he doesn't do any illegal stuff, but he acts as sort of a bodyguard and sort of getting intel. Now, he is not too happy about doing this, about, working for him, but he's pretty loyal to him. He thinks he's doing the right thing. And he started his little anarchy club because his dad, Luke Perry, the only good thing in this show, his dad got shot. And he survived, blah, blah, blah. He wants to find the guy who fought him, so he starts his little anarchy gang and hunts the person down. They think the killer is this one guy in Jughead's biker gang, but he was just a stand-in for the real killer. The real killer keeps on killing and sending Betty these messages, and she tries to find her long-lost brother, and finds who she thinks is her brother. It turns out to be not her brother, and he's pretty creepy, and he's a cam guy, whatever. So the one Black Hood makes a deal with them. He's like, alright, bring me him, I'll kill him, and I'll give you like a clue who I am or something. So she gives him to the Black Hood, and they chase each other down. He chases him down. She thinks he killed him, blah, blah, blah. That'll come up later. Yeah, so then eventually they find out it was her dad who hit Archie's dad, and Archie's dad lived, yada yada. So he's in jail. Polly was in this cult, and she was brainwashed, and she got the mom in the cult, and then, they got pretty much everyone at school in the cult, because some new girl joined the school who's part of the cult, and Betty's not too happy about this. She's like the only sane one. So eventually a lot of course, fillers and drama. There's some play episodes where there's a play and there's just a bunch of dancing and singing. It's just High School Musical, and then eventually there's a murder. Just a bunch of stupid crap. So that's season 2. Each season there's some new killer, some new mystery to solve, the Scooby Gang. Now, the 3rd season, there's some board games, some Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, where you have to take some magic potion to ascend. And the potion, of course, has cyanide in it, so you're just killing yourself. And, well, there's 2 of them. There's one that's normal, and there's another one with cyanide. So they find a bunch of dead people with, like, carvings on their back and cyanide poisoning. So the only person keen to poison is the rich girl's dad, or no, the rich girl's mom, so they think it's her. But she's like, not family me. And the rich girl and the Betty are like cousins, and the Blossoms, like the Jason, which is a Blossom cousin to the Cooper, had a baby with Polly before he died, and the babies didn't come out any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or anything. They were fine, sadly. But yeah, so there's a whole quarrel. So they're kind of teamed up, not enemies anymore. And yeah, everyone in playing the game, a lot of people are dying with the carvings on their back or whatever. And there's the Gargoyle King, which is some demon-possessed leader that he has them all kill themselves for him. So eventually Jughead gets into this game to like try to figure out what's happening. They do a bunch of stuff. Turns out all the people used to be friends, all the parents used to be friends and such, and they played the same game. And then they found one dude like with his dead body, and it turns out to be the gay dude, the gay dude who was in the ROTC. I forget if it's the gay dude or the gay jock who doesn't want to be found out he's gay. His dad liked Archie's dad, and he rejected him. Or no, his dad liked the gay dude's dad, and he rejected him because the gay dude's dad is not gay. So then he acted like he was the Gargoyle King and started poisoning the drinks because he was mad the gay dude's dad was also in this little suicide club or whatever. Yeah, a bunch of that happens. There's a bunch of different Gargoyle Kings, but it all breaks down to these gang wars that are happening with the Ghoulies and the Serpents, which is Jughead's gang. And Jughead's gang has really no members, so they recruit pretty much all his friends at school, which is just stupid, and they have switchblades. And they're fighting this other gang who makes and sells drugs. I'm pretty sure it was the Ghoulies, or maybe it's not. These other kids who are part of the, they're a big part of this suicide pact game thing. And yeah, so they do a bunch of stuff with that. And since they have no gang members, they recruit the Blossom Diva chick, and she turns out to be lesbian and in a relationship. She comes in a relationship with the other lesbian gang member, and they get tired of being bossed around by the guys, so they make their own little gang. And instead of having switchblades, it's a full lesbian gang with they're trained in bow and arrow. So they just run around with bow and arrows. They got a little Nakota tribe lesbians running with bow and arrows, shooting everybody. Betty tries to get more information about this cult, and they try to change her and get him to join them. And she thinks that she sees her dark self, but it's really just Polly in disguise. And she figures it all out. She figures out that they are harvesting organs, and that the place that Polly was at, the mental institute that they go back to, was giving drugs to people because she was put in an insane asylum from her mom for doing all this investigating. And it turns out that they were peddling drugs, the same drugs that were going around and that people playing the D&D suicide game were using. So everyone there is using it, and it makes them hallucinate and see the monster thing. So then she figures out that's how you see the monster, and that's how the kids are taking it and seeing the monster. And that the real monster, or the guy dressing up as the monster actually killing people, was Kit. Now, Kit didn't die when the murderer chased him down. The murderer, or Betty's dad, spared him because he started to like him. And yeah, so he started having a bunch of people worshipping him, and he liked it. All the 4 Scooby Gang members got kidnapped, and were in whoever's house, the ginger chick's house, after everyone found out they were harvesting organs and such, and the ginger chick was selling stuff. Yeah, all that happened. They had to go through some trials, like they had to fight a bunch of people and run. Eventually, the Blossom, who was lovers with Betty's dad, ended up killing Betty's dad, and all the members of the cult ascended. It was Ascension Night, and so she went into the Ascension room, and everybody was gone with their clothes on the ground, except for the one gay dude who was like, yeah, I was supposed to keep guard to make sure no one was going to stop us, and I didn't get to ascend with him, and he was all sad. And then she gets some FBI agent showing up at her door, and he is her actual brother, and he recruited her mom to go help find out what the cult was doing, and now she can't find her mom. She thinks her mom ascended with them. So now that's where that ended, and we find out that Luke Perry, who died in real life, they of course had to end him in the show, so he died in the show, and blah blah blah. Gives a recap where they're like burning all the Jughead's clothes and like, yeah, let's never talk about this. And it all ends on a happy ending. And in the end, this show, it was good to make fun of. That's pretty much all. Bad writing, bad everything. It was just silly with the lesbian club who ends up saving them, and just all the random stuff that, although obviously this stuff would never happen, the things they do to find out or stop the stuff would never happen. And I don't know, it's not that good of a show unless you want to make fun of it. But that's pretty much all. See ya.